If you're pursuing an executive MBA with 10 years of experience, do you really need to take the GMAT? The answer might surprise you, and it could save you months of prep time, emotional stress, and thousands of dollars. My name's Vi, a first-generation Ivy League MBA, and I'm making this video so you don't make the same mistakes I made. Let's break down exactly when you need to take the GMAT and when you're just wasting your time. So here's the reality. Many executive MBA programs now offer alternatives to the GMAT or waive it entirely. But I didn't know that when I applied. I spent months prepping to take the GMAT, and honestly, I wish I had this information way sooner. So for quick context, there are two main tests. The GMAT, which is a traditional 2+ hour exam designed for full-time MBA students. Then there's the Executive Assessment, or EA. It's a shorter test, 90 minutes, and designed specifically for experienced professionals applying for executive MBA programs. So which should you take? Here's the framework based on your experience level. So if you have under 8 years of experience, most traditional MBA programs and part-time MBA programs will still want the GMAT. There's no way around that. If you're early career or switching industries, the GMAT does show programs that you can handle the rigorous academics, because at the end of the day, they want somebody who's going to succeed in their program and represent their brand well in the market. Now, if you have 8 to 12 years of experience, this is a gray zone. The top 20 executive MBA programs increasingly accept the executive assessment. However, you should check your target school's requirements to see if they accept the EA. And if they do, you may want to strongly consider taking it. So if you're a 10-year marketing director applying to Yale or Kellogg Executive MBA programs, then you should know that all accept the executive assessment. You could prep in 4 to 6 weeks instead of 3 to 4 months for the GMAT. That's a big difference. And finally, if you're in that final bucket of executives with 12+ years of experience, what many people don't realize is that in some cases, you might not need to take any test. Many executive MBA programs waive test requirements if you have 12 to 15 or more years of work experience or have operated at a director level or above. Programs like Dartmouth, MIT, Cornell, and others offer test waivers. Always check your specific program's policy first, but don't assume you need to take it. Always be sure to ask, because policies can change. So here's what happened to me when I took the GMAT. I had 12 years of work experience when I applied, and I just assumed I needed to take the GMAT. That's what everybody always talked about. I didn't know it was even a question to ask, and I didn't even have anyone to ask the question to, even if I thought of it. So I studied for 3 months while working full-time. That meant early mornings, weekends, and sacrificing time with my family. Finally, test day comes. I walk out of the test center, get into my car, and just break down. I didn't hit my target score. I wasn't close. I thought I actually did well, and the thing with the GMAT is that they tell you the score right away. I completely bombed, and I felt like such a failure before I even started my executive MBA experience. I was driving home thinking about it, and I pulled over to the shoulder and just started crying. I just thought, maybe I'm not made for business school. People like me don't belong. I can't even pass the GMAT. 2 weeks later, I'm filling out my application, and I see this little note on the application that the GMAT is optional for candidates with 8 years or more experience. I just shook my head because my program didn't even require it. And I put myself through months of stress, self-doubt, pressure, not to mention that terrible day in the car for a test I never even needed to take. That's why I'm making this video for you, because I want to make sure that you don't waste months of your life and your confidence on something you might not even need. Let's say you're applying to a program that does require the GMAT, or you don't have the work experience to get the waiver. That's fine. If you do decide to take the GMAT or the executive assessment, here's what worked for me and what didn't. What worked was getting back into a study routine. I hadn't studied consistently in years. So building that discipline of 90 minutes every morning before I would go to work, whether it was qualitative or quant, that habit carried into my actual MBA experience. It actually increased my desire to keep learning new things, even after graduation. The mistake I made was that I tried to do it alone. I spent a couple of months just going through the books that you get online, and I burned out a couple of times. I just lost confidence and didn't keep any good momentum. And so I bit the bullet and paid for a tutor. At the end of the day, that's what the tutor does, that they level you up. My practice scores jumped from when I started. It was a big improvement for me. You don't want to hero this. You don't want to do this on your own. If you're studying while working full time, that's a lot, and efficiency beats grinding every day of the week. So get help early. Bottom line is that I sat in that parking lot thinking I wasn't good enough for an MBA. The truth was I was already qualified and I just didn't know the rules of the game. So don't let test anxiety stress you out for months out of your life. Check your specific program's requirements before you start studying. Ask those questions because you might already be exactly what they're looking for. Be sure to comment below because I want to know if you've already started taking the GMAT prep classes or if you're still researching. If this story resonated with you, then hit that subscribe button. I'm sharing everything I learned as a first-generation MBA, the good, the bad, and the roadside breakdowns so that you can skip straight to the wins. I'll see you in the next video.